last few weeks says we sure need a new 9/11 to get everybody on board with this war. Well, that could be a nuke going off somewhere. That could be a conventional major terror attack blamed on Iran. Iran has threatened to do it too. They could potentially actually do it themselves. I mean, you got to say that, but they don't really stand to gain from that. And they've officially said they're not planning to try to kill Trump. You had a few guys busted in the last few years. It turned out they thought they were working and being hired by Iran out of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia to kill Trump, jihadis. But it later turned out that it was actually the Mossad. And I've got another example of that even got covered by the Washington Post, the New York Times, CBS News, and NPR many years ago, where Israel posed as CIA agents in Europe and the UK and actually recruited hundreds and hundreds of people to carry out jihad terrorism. They believed they were working for the CIA. They were really working for Mossad. And when George W. Bush found out and got pissed, Israel told him, F off, we don't care. We'll do whatever we want.
In 2007 and 2008, Mossad agents used fake U.S. passports and American money to...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Crusader mask is low-key kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie.
...pose as American CIA officers. They met leaders of a terrorist organization in London and recruited them to carry out bombings and assassinations inside Iran. The goal was...
It's actually crazy, though, because that's what Israel did with the protests. They brought in a bunch of Mossad agents and some CIA, and we pretty much was giving, we was giving weapons to so-called protesters, but they're really just agitators, right? And we were giving them to, the Afghanis and the Kurds who actually live inside of Iran, who don't get no benefits from Iran or the government of Iran, because they're not really seen as actual citizens. They're just seen as like refugees and all that good stuff. And Iran do not be giving them people no benefits. So it's really easy to come to these people, or the Mossad or CIA to come to these people and be like, look, man, don't you want to overthrow this government? They ain't giving you no benefits, nothing at all. Just have you living out here in the hot ass desert. All right, fantastic. Look, I'm gonna give you this gun, I'm gonna give you some money, and bro, all you gotta do is go after the rest of them, cause a little havoc. We're gonna get this government overthrown, and it's all good, bro. But that did not happen. The overthrowing didn't work, and about 3,100 people or 3,100 people were killed. And now all the other ones that happened to get away are now being executed in the street and hunted down. So yeah, it didn't work, but we tried though. We gave it a good try. Well, Israel gave it a good try.
Officers. They met leaders of a terrorist organization in London and recruited them to carry out bombings and assassinations inside Iran. The goal was to make Iranian officials think the United States was behind the attacks in order to start a war between the two countries for Israel's benefit. When the real CIA found out, they wrote a secret memo to President George W. Bush, and he was furious. Yet he did nothing at all.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable. AlexJonesLive.com. Take a stand. Share the link.
You want to fight? You better believe you got one. Killed about a month before Kennedy was killed. He had ordered the U.S. to inspect and pull funding from Israel if they did not let us into their nuclear site. And he knew they had secretly developed nuclear weapons by getting uranium and plutonium from the United States. You go right through to them blackmailing Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky. That's admitted. You go right through the USS Liberty, try to drag us into war with Egypt and Russia.
Bro, they dragged us, bro. They literally tried to drag us in with the USS Liberty because they was getting their ass handed to them by Egypt and I believe Lebanon at the same time. And it was because they bit off more than they can chew. That's the problem with Israel. They always bite off more than they can chew. And they try to drag us into it when things look hectic. And they was willing to nuke Egypt because they were losing. Like, that's the problem with letting a rogue state have nukes.
False flag. There's countless examples of this. But there's some other examples that are admitted and not even denied by Israel, but that most people don't even know about. And I wanted to dovetail those reports we'll get to in a moment with what's currently happening. So on Thursday, Trump comes out and says, we played the clip already several times, says, I may not be here too long. Iran's trying to kill me. And we had him in Turkey get off Air Force One and fly out on another jet because of the, quote, concerns. And now we learned that Israel on Wednesday was giving him the intelligence that Iran has hatched a new plot to kill the 47th president, and that made Trump then come out and say, well, the peace deals are off the table, and we're going to obliterate Iran, and we've now launched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of attacks, including bombing their nuclear reactor, their ports, oil facilities, and more. Iran's responded by hitting a bunch of countries in the region as well. Then the U.S. yesterday morning said they were done bombing for now, but then a bunch of other bombings happened. No one will even say who it is. So that's a classic type of new war where it's a phantom bombing campaign. I would say it's probably Israel.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I think I might have accidentally left my door open. My alarm keeps going off. But I'll be right back, guys. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat it in, and I'll get to them as soon as I get back.
Bombing for now, but then a bunch of other bombings happened. No one will even say who it is. So that's a classic type of new war where it's a phantom bombing campaign. I would say it's probably Israel. But some are saying it might be the Arab states. Well, I don't think the Arab states have that type of sophisticated systems. Israel's got some similar to us, not as good to be able to get around the anti-aircraft systems, but who knows? We'll keep tracking that as it unfolds. But President Trump, by his statements, both verbally and on Truth Social, has 100% opened the door. If Israel says we've got to keep the U.S. in the war, we've got to pressure Congress to stay in the war, we got to primary whoever doesn't do it, we've got to, in the NDAA, the Defense Authorization, merge the U.S. military and with the U.S. taxpayer defense funding, claiming we co-own the U.S. military, being called a marriage by Netanyahu, being called a marriage by Ben-Gvir, being called a marriage by the U.S. ambassador, who's really the Israeli.
Yeah, pretty much letting us know that, yeah, you guys are now married to our military forever until death do us part. And it's like, oof, I don't like the sound of that one. Oof, I get an unsettling feeling in my stomach. It's like married to Israel militarily of all things. Like, I don't know, guys. Oh, shit. Yeah, it seems like an oh shit situation, like where they can start dragging us into all their conflicts or just start using our weaponry to just do whatever butchery they're trying to do throughout the Middle East. So, yeah, I would like an immediate divorce. I will take all consequences. I'll go ahead and I'll pay alimony and all that. I would just like this divorce to be immediate. Like, that's how desperate I am for this divorce.
Ambassador to the U.S., Mike Huckabee, a merger, a synergy, a lifetime system.
Well, you can take alimony, have the kids, all that. Go ahead.
A coup, a takeover. They're going to need, and they've said this, a new 9/11 to get us on board because it's over 80% of the American people do not want this war. They understand it's increasing prices. They understand that it's causing inflation. They understand we're into 135 days of this. And so Israel and their leaders, and I've shown you these quotes and statements in the last few weeks, says we sure need a new 9/11 to get everybody on board with this war. Well, that could be a nuke going off somewhere.
Bro, and there's already like damn near 3 options. Well, maybe like 2. It's like 1, they could take out Trump and get us into a war with Iran. So they could take out Trump. Like I said, Trump just said hey, if you kill me, I'm going all out. So all somebody got to do is kill Trump and blame it on Iran. Then there's 2. Remember, I just showed you the story from Fox News where they said there's Iranian drones in Cuba that could strike us at any moment. So Iranian drones in Cuba. So if drones come from Cuba and hit us, we're not going to blame the Cuban government. We're going to blame Iran. And apparently that's going to drag us into it with Iran. So those are already 2 situations to where we can get dragged into a war with Iran basically on a false flag.
It could be a conventional major terror attack blamed on Iran. Iran has threatened to do it too. They could potentially actually do it themselves. I mean, you got to say that, but they don't really stand to gain from that. And they've officially said they're not planning to try to kill Trump. You had a few guys busted in the last few years. It turned out they thought they were working and being hired by Iran out of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia to kill Trump, jihadis. But it later turned out that it was actually the Mossad. And I've got another example of that even got covered by the Washington Post, the New York Times, CBS News, and NPR many years ago, where Israel posed as CIA agents in Europe and the UK and actually recruited hundreds and hundreds of people to carry out jihad terrorism. They believed they were working for the CIA. They were really working for Mossad. And when George W. Bush found out and got pissed, Israel told him, F off, we don't care. We'll do whatever we want. Yeah, I'm going to show you mainstream news, news reports from, gosh, that's 2 decades ago. And when did that happen? When George W. Bush, like Obama and like Clinton, said, we are not going to go to full war with Iran. The Pentagon says they probably won't fall. They'll close the Strait of Hormuz, and then it'll look like a defeat for the United States. That's what
which we don't want
the
to
Pentagon told Trump in the week before, and even leaked it to the New York Times that it wasn't a good idea. But Israel struck first on the 28th of February, dragging us in. Rubio admitted that, and since then Netanyahu has bragged that he's really in charge, making Trump last week when Netanyahu said, I'm coming next week, Trump said, I'm the boss, and would meet with him, and snubbed him when he was at the NATO summit in Turkey, and he's set to sell them the advanced jets. So now Netanyahu officially said we need to prepare for war with Turkey, even though Turkey may have rhetoric against Israel over the years, but has always worked with the West, as Trump pointed out.
And what kills me is that, bro, them trying to frame Turkey as all of a sudden an enemy is like, bro, when were they ever an enemy? Just because you guys say Turkey's an enemy doesn't mean that Turkey's now the greatest threat since Iran. And here's a crazy thing. You guys already said it out loud. Naftali Bennett said that Turkey's the new Iran. I mean, other Israeli politicians have said this, that, oh, yeah, we're going after Turkey next, which is a bit disturbing because now we're looking at y'all like, bro, what the fuck did Turkey do? They're a NATO ally. You guys need to calm y'all ass down. Like, literally chill out. Like, you guys are trying to drag us into a war with Iran. Now you're trying to say we should focus on Turkey? Like, all right, Israel, how about this? How about you go get yourselves destroyed and you go attack Turkey on your own? See how that works out for you. Good luck.
You're the one. So absolute pure bull on that front. So Israel's in trouble, lowest poll ratings in Gallup, running out of bombs, running out of money, needs us fully committed to this. So what will Israel do? Well, Trump has opened the door now where Israel or a group they fund could try to kill the president or kill him. And then now Trump says he will obliterate and go to full war, maybe even use nukes if that's the case. And now Trump has said even if they try to kill him. So if you believe they staged Butler, if you believe they staged at least for publicity and sympathy, the Kirk thing, whether he died or not, I'm talking about Trump in general and the deep state, and I'm not saying that happened. We just have to work him every angle here because we've been lied to so much. Then now Trump's even opened the door more, even saying, oh, it's not that I even have to die. If Iran tries to kill me, I'll obliterate you. And that's how they got George W. Bush to finally go into Iraq, who had nothing to do with 9/11 and had no WMDs, was they said, oh, Saddam has a hit out on your dad, Herbert Walker Bush. So we hear this and we see this over and over again. I said, there's no way Israel won't be able to help themselves and bomb.
Oh, wow. Okay, I already see the propaganda already that they're going to spew. It's like they're okay. So, guys, for Turkey, they're going to pretty much try to say that radical Islam took over, even though Turkey's been in a Muslim country forever now. If you look at their flag, it literally has the Islamic symbol on it. And they're going to try to say because it's a Muslim country, they support the Muslim Brotherhood. They're trying to take over the Middle East. Once again, radical Islam trying to, I guess, expand, right? Is that what you guys are going to lie to the people about to try to drag us into a war with Turkey? Like, are you serious? That's so crazy. He's like, oh, it's radical Islam. That's what took over Turkey. Turkey's been a NATO ally even with Islam, and they've been a pretty good NATO ally, by the way. I mean, bro, is Israel in NATO? Is Israel signed on to the non-proliferation treaty? No. So I'm sorry, but you can't talk about Turkey when they actually abide by international law, unlike Israel.
During the funeral, the Ayatollah, so on the final day of the 5-day extravaganza, they literally took him out of a frozen deep freeze 18-wheeler with dry ice billowing out the back to haul him down the road. Then comes the bombs, trying to stir the Islamics up as much as possible. Israel advised Trump that if he killed the mullah, they would collapse. Of course, it only made them stronger. Anybody that knows geopolitics and that culture and the sociology involved would know that.
Hey, guys, I thought he wasn't supposed to have no support. I thought the Iranians hated him, 90%. But 1 million people showed up for his funeral, over 1 million people? Man, that's crazy, huh? 61 million people voted in an election controlled by the regime. Ain't that crazy? But apparently he's supposed to have no support. I know, guys, you've been lied to.
Israel is giving us advice to get us engaged in a full war. and to backstop everything they're doing, not to have quick regime change. They want chaos. So Trump has really stepped in it. He has greenlit and opened the door where Israel doesn't need to set off a nuke somewhere and blame Iran or do a big false flag. All they got to do now is have some patsies wound up, some Durka Muhammad Jihad low IQ people who even think they're working for the mullahs.
Durka Muhammad. I'm sorry. It's from his debate with Sneeko, bro. That shit was too funny. Even though I was debunking him on everything and all that good stuff, because Alex Jones don't know shit about Islam. But like, to be honest with you, he don't know nothing about Islam, to be absolutely honest. But the fact that he was like trolling Sneeko was hilarious. Because he was trying to say, all right, Alex, what prophet said all that? What prophet said all these radical things? What radical Shia, what radical Dean or Amman says all those radical things? And Alex Jones wasn't able to name one. He just said Durka Muhammad. I was like, okay, bro. Like, it shows your ignorance, but that was funny.
Like we already had a couple years ago, that came out. That was a provocateur event, similar to Whitmer kidnappers being paid and wound up to just talk about doing an event. And then now Trump will have the cover. He said maybe Trump's in on it with Israel, and there's about to be a staged assassination attempt. And Trump thinks that will get us behind ground troops. That'll get us behind using nukes. He said, well, I want to use nukes, but, I don't think you'll accept it. Or I want ground troops, but I don't think you have the stomach for it. Tune into Mark Levin tonight. He's going to say what I think a few months ago. And yes, Mr. President, be like Harry Truman. Drop A-bombs on them. Show them. Yes. So I don't know if Trump's in on this or he's just not using his head. But I've been getting this out for years. I've been warning of this before it was ever an issue, seeing it in the cards, and now it's here. That's why we are tomorrow's news today. So let me go over these headlines of what Trump's been saying, then I'm going to get in to some of the history of the false flags and Israel posing as foreign terror groups or creating groups that think they work for another government who then go out to stage terror and then somebody else gets blamed. And they wanted to carry out terror attacks in Iran with this Allah's army group to then have Iran attack the United States thinking we were behind it. That's all declassified. So if Israel would do that, would Israel wind up and pay some crazies who, again, even think they're working for Iran? I mean, you can go pay a jihadi $20,000, they'll suicide bomb their kid. So they're never really good at carrying a lot of this out, but they'll certainly do it.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Here we go. Trump calls for escalating war.
I mean, the worst thing about it is that it's kind of crazy how we ignore the lesson of, radical Islam. Like, guys, I'm no supporter of radical Islam, obviously. Trust me, I'm not. But the problem is that you got to understand how it was created. Radical Islam didn't come off just off the basic teachings of Islam. Radical Islam came about because of Western interference and them trying to fight us off their land and moving to the most desperate tactics to do so. And of course, we completely threw their land into poverty as well. So they also got to fight that and us. And, of course, the taking of the disrespecting of their holy land as well. So you got to understand that these radicals, they just didn't wake up and decide just to kill Americans. Like, we kind of made these people. It's of course through our Western intervention. So no, that doesn't mean you just sit there and accept what they do. No, we got to stop them, of course. But let's not sit here and forget the lesson of it. It's like, you radicalize people when you sit there and recklessly bomb their country and kill civilians and not thinking that you're killing people's, friends, families. And, they might not take that death too lightly. And they might think that, a jihad against America or our soldiers is necessary for their vengeance. Why? Because, we just bombed all their family members. Like, you do understand how these people, are created, right? I hope you're just not that ignorant to think it's just Islam.
Iran kills him as suspicion of an Israeli influence operation abounds. That's Sean Miller up at AlexJonesLive.com. And even CNN's like, well, yes, clearly he said the peace deal was off and everything after Israel gave them this intel. Well, also the Iranians attacked 3 ships. But they said we've never made a deal. They have a framework to talk about a deal. Fears erupt of Iran's desires to kill Trump. Israel shared intelligence with the U.S. of Iran plot to assassinate Trump, sources say. And here's the quote from Trump, or the post on Truth Social. 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at the Islamic Republic of Iran, with thousands of more to immediately follow should the Iranian government act on its threat. And again, now the Israelis go, well, we just caught the mullahs on the phone saying, should we try to kill Trump? Who knows if that's even true? We're only killing them. And what do you expect? I'm not defending it, but I mean, I'm sure they do talk about it, but then they reported in the past and said, no, that'll make them attack us more. Don't do it. That's why the Russians haven't killed Zelensky. It turns him into a martyr. 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at the Islamic Republic of Iran, Trump wrote, with thousands.
That is so true. I didn't even honestly think about that all the way through. It's like, I was wondering why Putin just didn't end Zelensky, and it's for the same reason why you shouldn't end any leader. Because once you end a leader, you create a rally around the flag event. And even the people who disagreed with the leader are now in support of avenging the leader's death. Like, that's the rally around the flag. It's like, and the thing is, I mean, look, if somebody, let's say this, like I said, I mean, as much as the liberals hate Trump, if there was ever a situation where Trump was bombed in the White House, and let's say his family, like granddaughter and all, was just taken out in one strike, bro, we would want to go to war over that. We'd want to decimate the country or people who are responsible. That goes the same for every people, every nation across the board. It's just a human thing.
Of more to immediately follow should the Iranian government act on its threat. Produced in many corners of the globe to assassinate or attempt to assassinate the sitting president of the United States of America, in this case, me. Orders have already been given. The U.S. military is ready, willing, and able for a 1-year period of time, subject to extension, to completely decimate and destroy all areas of Iran. All areas. Will take a lot more than 1,000 missiles, unless they're nuclear. Praise be to Allah, President Donald John Trump. Here's Fox News reporting that Israel gave him the intelligence, and then Trump decided to break off deals.
Okay, hold on. Look, okay, like in my example, okay, I know some of y'all may be happy if Trump died, but all his family, though, even his granddaughter that's done nothing at all, like whole family just obliterated, that wouldn't anger you not one bit. I don't know, man. I can understand you maybe, you know, blowing off Trump's death, but not the whole fam, though.
Here's another one again, as I said, from CNN, saying the same thing.
God damn.
We have this. It's a mystery who launched the latest airstrikes against Iran. Very bizarre. So that's that. Now let's get into the real meat and potatoes of the Israeli false flag that's queued up, teed up, set up after I hit this. Fuel prices are slamming consumers even as crude fades. Now that's an article out today going off the info that there's a peace deal and the war is over, that we've heard literally more than 50 times in the last 135 days. Every couple of days we hear it.
Stays here.
So they're like, oh, oil's going to come down. Oh, but it never comes down because the oil companies know this war is continuing on and on and on. They don't listen to that. And they're months behind, and the strategic reserve's almost empty. So they know that, and they know what it costs them to refine the gas.
Months behind on shipping. Our strategic reserves are running low. We're running low on munitions, mainly the munitions we need for protection. Is like, it's not looking good. It is not looking good. And it's so funny that even Charlie Kirk called this out, like, you know, before he died, when he was in protest of starting a war with Iran. He called it out. He was like, bro, our manufacturing base have not recovered enough to sit there and go to war with Iran to actually supply munitions, the munitions that we would need. And he was right. He was absolutely right.
You're getting now. And it's killing the economy. And then here it is. Trump tells Iran to open Strait today or face retaliation. Well, that's what the whole thing's been. And their only main leverage was the Strait. They have that card.
Mm-hmm. Really?
U.S. seeks Iranian pledge to free up the Strait of Hormuz.
No, honestly, though, that is their main card. Like, if we can get that away from them, then Iran's cooked. They're going to have to pretty much be subjugated to our demands. But if we can't get them off the Strait, then they got the whole global economy. Like, bro, they got the global economy's balls in a vice grip. Like, okay. And I'm pretty sure you know how painful that is and how vulnerable you are if that ever happens to you. It's like you kind of can't move, you can't go nowhere, and it's at their mercy. That's the problem. Like, we cannot allow them to have the global economy's balls in a vice grip. And here's the thing, though. It's like, That might have to be the reality we get down with if we can't remove them off the straight. And as you see, we're trying to remove them off the straight, and they're willing to keep on destroying military assets in the region. Now, if they start moving on to oil and energy infrastructure in these Gulf countries, shit's gonna get real.
To make the peace deal. Well, we had peace before Israel and the U.S. struck them, and the strait was open. Oh, there's a new talking point put up by the neocons in the White House and Fox News. And we've been at war for 47 years with Iran. So that's why, no matter how long this war goes, a few more years, because we've always been at war with East Asia.
I'm weak. So, AKA, we've always been in a forever war with Iran. So we've been in a forever war with Iran, guys. Is that really our argument? We've been at war with them for 47 years. Bro, when did we declare war on Iran? Tell me. Go ahead, tell me. We never declared a war on them, but we've been at war with them for 47 years. Really? Really, bro? It's like we never took direct attacks against Iran, but now, well, on their land, really. But now, though, we've been at war for 47 years. Yeah, bro, come on now. Can we use some common sense here? We've had on and off confrontations with Iran, but not a full-on war till today or till this common time. So it's kind of ignorant as hell to sit there and say, we've been at war for them for 47 years. Like, come on, bro. Really? So we've been at war. As soon as the Ayatollah came in power, we just said, hey, yeah, forever war with Iran. Okay.
1984. Well, this is an escalation, if you believe that, into hot war, and it's killing the economy. So, it'll last a few days, it'll last a few months, it'll last a couple years. Well, it'll last as long as it needs to. Wow. As our country goes bankrupt and as the world buckles with a third of the fertilizer not coming through. So, this is all oxymoronic, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's get to the big news. And then we'll get Robert Barnes on here. Look at this. This is when it all started. Bush rejected Israeli plea to raid and bomb Iran. This is 2009. It talks about a couple years before. CBS News. So what?
You damn right he didn't. Like, bro, he's seen what, think about like this. George Bush was probably the most scarred from the Middle East. Like, bro, he's seen how bad Iraq went. He's seen how bad Afghanistan went. And then you got Israelis talk about, oh, yeah, now going to Iran. Bro, I could only imagine. If I was Bush, after seeing all that, I'd have probably snapped. I'd have probably been like, bro, are you fucking serious? Like, bro, you told me if I take out Saddam, there'll be positive reverberations around the Middle East. Nigga, there is no positive reverberations anywhere in the Middle East right now. It's like, bro, we had the dog fight with these guys in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's like, and you want us to go into a bigger, more formidable country and acting like it's going to be a breeze? Bro, are you insane? I'm pretty sure that's what Bush was thinking at some point. He's like, these guys must be fucking insane. They seen us struggle in these other countries, but they want us to go into a bigger, more formidable one. Like, bro, what are they smoking?
Did the Israelis do? Foreign policy. This is put up by the CFR and the Washington Post. Israel spies claim to be American. You read the article. It's also an NPR. And they recruited all these terrorists by the hundreds and hundreds, thought they worked for the U.S. They really worked for Israel. The Israeli spies, American Jews, who could pull off sounding American because they're basically dual citizens, they pose as the CIA so that when Iran would attack the U.S. and drag us into the war. That's interesting, isn't it? Carrying out assassinations and bombings. Here's Foreign Affairs, and it goes over it all 2007, 2008. And when Bush called the Israelis and said, what are you doing? They said, we'll do whatever we want. Screw off. That was funding the Army of Allah. Passed themselves off as American agents. And again, that article out of Foreign Affairs, overhead shot, please, is called False Flag. Let's pull up the HD of that, please. A series of CIA memos described how Israeli Mossad agents posed as American spies to recruit members of the terrorist organization, Jundahala, or however you say it, to fight their war and then get the U.S. attacked by Iran. Then we have some other examples of this over the years as well. We have the Lavon affair in the 1950s, where they staged bombings on Western targets in places like Egypt. But when they were bombing another target, the seventh target, they caught the Mossad planting the bombs. And so that didn't go too well for them. We'll get back into that in a moment, but let me play you a breakdown of this. Israel conducted a terrorist organization, created one that poses an American CIA agents and staged an attack on Iranian soil to start a war between Iran and the United States. Yes, I just showed you the Washington Post and the Council on Foreign Relations reporting on it, and Israel admits they did. And that's been partially declassified. Here's a report on that.
Did Israeli intelligence pose as American CIA inside of Iran? And did they do this to start a war between the two nations? The answer, of course, is yes, and this one will make you angry. In 2007 and 2008, Mossad agents used fake U.S. passports and American money to pose as American CIA officers. They met leaders of a terrorist organization in London and recruited them to carry out bombings and assassinations inside Iran. The goal was to make Iranian officials think the United States was behind the attacks, in order to start a war between the two countries for Israel's benefit. When the real CIA found out, they wrote a secret memo to President George W. Bush, and he was furious. Yet he did nothing at all. Israel had used these tactics in the past and attempts to drag the U.S. into conflict with Libya, Egypt, Syria, and Iraq. Many of those attempts were successful, resulting in the United States destabilizing those regional powers. It also resulted in the death of over 1 million.
Nah, you know what's so fucked up with too, though? It's kind of crazy how we go in there, destabilize the country, ruin their economic future, then call them a shithole country. I always thought that was like wild as hell. It's like, well, son of a bitch. It's like, are we really gonna sit here and act like, you know, we didn't get involved, they would still be like this? Is that really what we're gonna pretend? Like, guys, I'm sorry, but if we didn't ever touch these Arab nations, they might have been more advanced than I'm sorry, I'm an American supremacist, so I can't say they'd be more advanced than us. No, of course not. But they'd be close. They would be close. I'm gonna be real with you. They'd be a lot better off than they are now. So to sit here and pretend like our military intervention had no effect on their development as a nation is completely asinine. And that's why I hate the argument that Steven Crowder has. Oh, when does it become their fault? I mean, bro, we're still fucking around in their country. As soon as we stop, then I don't know, give it 5-10 years, and maybe we can have that argument. Like, sure. And then here's the thing, like, bro, the effects of what we've done in their country are still happening today. Like, bro, Somalia still in shambles, Libya still in shambles, Iraq, Iran, I mean, somewhat still in shambles today because of our intervention. So to sit there and call them a shithole country because of that is just, you just have complete ignorance of what we've done there.
Arabs and thousands of Americans. But it allowed Israel to gain regional strength and influence, and for Israel, that's the only thing that mattered. But this isn't just history. This is still happening today. Currently, the United States Pentagon has classified Israel as a critical threat to the United States intelligence security, as they have discovered that Israel has been actively spying on the United States in order to obtain the locations of Iranian negotiators, so Israel can assassinate them to prevent peace between the United States and Iran. Yet, we still move to merge our military and intelligence operations with Israel, giving them unprecedented access to information that previously they had to steal from us. They aren't just inviting a fox into the henhouse, they are giving them the key. Israel doesn't just target our enemies and try to blame it on us. They've also targeted our own civilians in order to blame it on our enemies, with examples like the Levin affair, where Israel's operatives planted bombs in British and American cinemas and libraries and other civilian locations, planning to blame it on Egyptian nationals to pull the United States into war with Egypt. Now Israel's pushing American leadership to leave NATO, and there's a reason for this. A NATO ally of the United States is also an enemy of Israel, and I'm talking about Turkey. I don't like to make predictions, but Israel would love nothing more than for the United States to leave NATO, and I believe there's a simple reason for that. Turkey is Israel's next target, but they are also a NATO ally, which is why I believe Trump is expressing his desire to leave NATO. Either way, stay vigilant and please contribute any information you might have in the comments.
That report is 100% accurate. Great job to whoever that anonymous group is. It's called Anonymous. You can pull up everything that they're talking about. It's all true. Here's the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, the Levant affair, how false flag operation led to war and Israel getting the nuclear bomb, 1954. Just type in the Levant affair. You should go read this for yourself. I could go on for 10 hours, okay? And the reason I'm on Israel's ass right now is under Netanyahu, who's been in there for 25 years, off and on. We have 9/11. We have all of this stuff. I could give you a bunch of other examples, but I've got Robert Barnes connecting right now, and I want to shift gears into other subjects. But after he's gone, I'm going to hit a few more of these. It's literally, I feel like I'm covering up by not showing you 100 examples of them false flagging. But this is a deep dive compared to everybody else, and this is the surface. Just always remember that. Just go research Israeli false flags. They are extremely prolific. So is our government. And people get really mad about that. They go, no, only Israel does evil stuff. No, we're the British, the U.S., we're famous for it. The Germans do a lot of them to blame their own citizens too. I mean, this stuff is, this goes on. False flags are a real thing, obviously. Came out in WikiLeaks. They got a secret program in the Pentagon for special forces captains and above how to stage false flags. And torture programs. And it didn't just start with Bush. So we just cover the good, the bad, and the ugly. We just call balls and strikes. Finally, I want to hit this clip. Here's convicted spy for Israel, Jonathan Pollard. On a whole bunch of shows, he says this, and you can look it up. It's true. In 73, we weren't giving them more weapons because they'd already basically defeated their enemies. We were freezing the airlift, trying to end the war.
Yeah, and that's what kind of happens. It's like Israel starts wars, we try to help them and stop it, and then they end up kind of like, either letting our soldiers get killed or threatening us with mass destruction. Or not us, but pretty much saying that, we'll cause mass destruction in the Middle East if you don't help us. I mean, kind of with the problem when you kind of let a country like Israel have nuclear weapons, they kind of use it at their own discretion or use it when they want to coerce people. Yeah, it's kind of not the way. But all right.
So we just cover the good, the bad, and the ugly. We just call balls and strikes. Finally, I want to hit this clip. Here's convicted spy for Israel, Jonathan Pollard. On a whole bunch of shows, he says this, and you can look it up. It's true. In 73, we weren't giving them more weapons because they'd already basically defeated their enemies. We were freezing the airlift, trying to end the war.
It was
with Egypt and other neighbors, and he called up Kissinger and said, or the Israeli.
It's like, guys, you know how everybody keep on saying, the 200 and so Marines that died in the barracks and all that good stuff is like, why were we there? You want to know like how 200 Marines kind of got like truck bombed in Lebanon? Like, do you remember why we were there? Oh yeah, we were there because Israel started off a war there, and they pretty much and we had to come down there. Us and a bunch of French peacemakers came down there to try to solve the problem, try to get the war stopped. And Israel pretty much knew about a truck bomb they were making, and let it go towards us. And they let it happen because we were trying to interfere in their war that they wanted to keep going. Like, this is the problem with supporting Israel. It's like these guys want constant conflict, and we're willing to get behind them about it, and it's terrible.
We're going to nuke Egypt, Cairo, if you don't keep sending us weapons, and they did. That's holding people hostage. And Israel reportedly threatened Trump that we might nuke Iran if you don't come in behind us. That's why Secretary of State Rubio said, yeah, we had to do it. Do you really like this country running our policy? I don't like our leaders getting us into wars, but I really don't like foreign governments doing it. And they go, oh, because you love Hitler. No, don't love Hitler either. Hitler's been dead for 80 years. Stop changing the subject. I like not being in a nuclear war. I like not having the dollar collapse. I like inflation being low. I like prosperity and security.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too. And the problem is you get into this war, bro, the dollar is good, bro. Like I said, if Iran takes out the oil infrastructure, energy infrastructure of the Gulf countries, there goes the dollar, guys. It's called the petrodollar, and it's being held up by those Gulf countries. Actually, our AI stock that's damn near holding up 25% of our economy? Yeah, those are being held up by, Middle Eastern investors. Gulf country investors, guys. And if they're too busy having to rebuild their country, which means they won't be investing in AI anytime soon, which means that we lose a lot of venture capital in AI. The AI bubble might just finally pop.
And I'd like Israel to have new Abraham Accords, and I'd love to visit Israel someday and visit Cairo and visit, and I'd love to someday go to Russia and we're friends with them. But I'm not about to do that because I'll get called a Russian agent. I want to go see Russia. I want to go see China.
Shoot, I'll go to Russia and China to visit. I mean, I don't know why people want to call you a Russian agent for going to Russia or China. It's like, what? Well, Russia's a beautiful country. Why would I not want to go see it? China is a beautiful country. Why would I not want to go see it? Like, what? Y'all tripping.
So
and then I'll
that's
come
where
right
we
back.
are, folks.
Oh, and here the thing is, I'll come right back to my beautiful country. Like, man, come on, man. Y'all be tripping.
Folks, and when Israel tries to beat people over the head, calling them Nazis, it doesn't work anymore. And Israel's the most hated country in the world, and that's sad. And it's only getting worse. So Israel digs its spurs in deeper and tries to get us fully committed into war with them. And that would be staging a false flag, trying to kill Trump, or claiming somebody tried to kill Trump. Trump's already said, if Iran tries to kill me, I'm going to full war. Well, Israel wants to go to full war. Who incentivizes that? Who stands to gain from that? Israel. And who has a long history of that? Israel. So we got a problem, Houston.
Sure
so here's Pollard bragging about
let me give you an example of that. I was criticized very heavily for opposing the ceasefire, the American imposed ceasefire in Lebanon on us.
Yeah.
And
do you see the problem? The American imposed ceasefire. These guys have a problem every time we try to bring peace. They have a fucking problem with it. That's why I say we need to let them fight their own damn wars. Because every time we try to throw a wrench in it, they get mad at us and then they want to threaten us or let our soldiers get killed. It's like, yeah, okay, do it yourself then if that's what y'all
want. I was told by certain people in the government, look, we didn't have choice because we were being threatened with a complete cutoff of arms. So I listened to this, and the individual telling me this said, you don't believe this or what? I said, well, I believe that the Biden administration, as I called it, did threaten us. But I said, you're mistaken if you think there's never a choice. There was a choice. He said, well, what? Is it to have our weapons cut off? I said, no, let me bring you back to October 1973 during the Yom Kippur War when Henry Kissinger instituted an arms embargo against us. He stopped the aerial resupply of our army at that point to extract diplomatic concessions from us. And what happened? What happened was an A-4 Skyhawk was parked at Telnoff Air Base with some interesting weapons under its wings. And we told the Americans, take your eye in the sky and take a good look at the airplane that's on that runway. And the next day, the airlift started. So the guy that I was talking...
Which airlift?
To Israel.
Uh-huh.
The arms air.
So in other words, we threatened their...
We threatened to use...
Okay. All right. I'm just going to have to grill you for a second. First off, I've always been pro-American. I'm always going to be pro-American. And here's the thing, the fact that you're too much of an idiot to see that me pretty much telling you that we shouldn't get into a war that's going to destroy our economy, because I'm just so pro-American that I care about the financial future of all Americans, unlike you. I'm just so pro-American that I don't want our soldiers to die and family members be left without a father or mother, unlike you. So I'm so pro-American. It seems like I care more about the American people's financial future, their family life, and their social life more than you. But you're calling me un-American? Like, bro, how fucking retarded are you? And then you've been in my chat spreading all this Islam hate, and all you've been showing is how ignorant you are of Islam. Like, bro, you could come up here right now and I'll destroy you on everything you believe about Islam because you don't know nothing. And then you want to come up here and try to call me what? Not American? Like, do you hear yourself? Like, bro, please tell me how Islam has contributed to the top problems in the US that Americans are facing today. $40 trillion ain't their fault. Immigration ain't their fault. It wasn't their fault why we're facing $40 trillion in debt. It's not their fault why we got maybe 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants in here. So please tell me how Muslims or Islam is the top problems of American citizens today. Because it's not, dumbass. And here's the thing, bro. You're the un-American one. You're the one calling to ban a religion, and this country was built on freedom of speech and freedom of religion, dumbass. So how un-American are you to sit there and go against the very first amendment of this great nation? of this great nation, you dare go against the First Amendment and call for the banning of a religion and then claim that you're pro-American? Bro, who the fuck are you? And why are you such an idiot? There you go.
Unconventional weapons. I'll leave it at that. And so he said, is this what you want us to threaten now? I said, absolutely. Except this time I want us to go forward with it if necessary.
So Israel's held us with nuclear blackmail before, and it's ongoing now. And that's just a fact. And the spell that you can't criticize Israel or you're a Nazi is broken. I'm not allied with the Red Green Alliance, the left, Mondami. They're a huge threat.
I'm destroying y'all today. That's it. So some idiot says that the Quran says to kill those who don't align with them. No, it doesn't. All right, where in the Quran does it says that? What is it? Where does it say that, Michigan native? What does the Michigan dumbass have to say again? Please show me where in the Quran does it say, oh yes, to kill what? To kill those who don't align with them? Where does it say that? Because it doesn't actually. Actually, the Muslims, if you actually look at history, were the only people who weren't killing non-believers. Instead, they just imposed a tax on them. If you knew anything about history, the Christians were killing non-believers and taking their property. The Zoroastrians, the Persians, was killing people and taking their property. The only place where a non-believer actually was be able to be safe was under Muslim rule. But obviously, though, I'm pretty sure you can't show me where in the Quran it says that, oh yeah, well, you must kill those who don't align with Islam, because it doesn't say that anywhere. But all right. And the crazy how I even explained the tax to him, he doesn't even understand how if you actually look up that tax system,